Welcome back. Today we're going to talk about selecting a vise. I had this question a while back, and I'm finally getting around to addressing it. And ultimately it was asking how I wound up settling on the Renzetti 4000 that I tie on. All my videos that you've watched, it's been on this Renzetti. I've been tying on this one for, I don't know, 5+ years, I guess. For the longest time I was tying on this 2000. And I'll explain a little bit more about what I didn't like about the 2000 and what led me to the 4. But first I'm going to go back and talk to, if you've been tying for a while and you're still looking at upgrading a vise, you're looking at going to something new, go out into the shops, see what you like. The rotary function, I'll be honest, I would be lost if I wasn't able to tie with the rotary function now, to where you can just spin this around and it's a true rotary, meaning when I spin this, the hook is on the same plane the entire time. There's no wobble or anything like that. And it just allows you to rip through when you're tying on chenille or schloppen, whatever it may be. You can move through that so much faster than it is if you're doing it one wrap over the top like on these old vices here. There's really two types of a platform that you can tie on, I guess. You've got your pedestals, which I tied on for a little while, and I'll go into reasons why I didn't like that too awful much. And then you've got your C-clamp, which will just attach to any bench. The C-clamp's what I prefer. The reason that I didn't like the base or the pedestal is because I'm really heavy-handed when I'm tying. When I'm tying deer hair, you'll see me, like, I'll wrench down on stuff. If I found that when I was tying on this base right here, what would happen is I would be pulling so hard on that deer hair, or I would actually move the base a little bit and it would rock. So I had to hold my hand right here in place, controlling my material, and still pull to keep that base from rocking. So that's why I went away from the base, more to the C-clamp. This right here is one of the first vices that I ever tied with. This thing is just as simple as it can be. I don't even know if it has a name to it. It's just a cheap, I probably got it for $5 or something. But Thompson makes some vices like this. I mean, there's just a ton of companies that make just your standard vise. There's no rotation. The only function that it has is to hold a hook in place. If you are just getting started tying, don't go and spend $300-400 on a vise. You don't know if you're going to stick with it or not. If you're just getting started into tying, I recommend going with something like this. There are some that do have like a rotation function. They're a couple bucks more. They're probably $20-30 to where you can see like the underside of your fly. With this one, if you want to do that, you have to loosen this up and then spin it this way to look at it. So your jaws have to loosen up. But then again, your fly's going to come out, so what's the point in that? This one, it's just meant for, just for beginners. There's a function right here. This is how you tighten the jaws. You move this around depending on the size of the hook that you're tying with, and you just tailor it that way. With these Renzettis, you have this knob right here. This controls the opening and closing of your jaw, and it's also a great spot to hang. I don't know if you guys catch me doing this, but when I'm doing dubbing loops, I'll throw my loop right around that and it'll hang it right there, and then it stays open. I can throw my material in it. What led me to the Renzetti 4000? I've always been, ever since I upgraded, and I say this, let me go back a little bit, don't do what I did. Once you tie on this for a little while, then you know that this is going to be something that's going to stick with you, and it's going to be something that you're going to do consistently. Jump right to the investment. What I did, I went from this one, I went up to maybe a $25 one, then I went to a Regal knockoff, I went to a Regal, I didn't like it. My cousin Darren, he ties on a Dyna King. I've tried the Peaks, and ultimately I settled on this. But I would guess I've bought over the years 10 to 15 different vices, knowing that this is what I wanted, but I didn't want to spend the money on it. Then after a while, I spent the money on the 2000. What I don't like about the 2000, and I will take this out and show you, is this section right here has a joint in it. So where that's another spot for it to pivot. This right here is just one continuous piece. You can see I can move that material clip anywhere I want it to be without issue. This one right here, I'm limited. I can move that material clip right there. And I use the material clip a ton. I throw the rubber band on there. It keeps the back hook for the articulation out of the way. If you're not tying with, if you're not tying a ton of articulated streamers, then this may not be a bad way to go. It's a little bit cheaper than the 4000, but honestly, I mean, if you're going to be doing a lot of tying, just spend the money and get the vise that you want. I'm not promoting anything. There's all good vices out there. The Dyna King, you know, Darren, he's tied on that. I've tied on his. It's a phenomenal vice. You know, I just settled on the Renzetti. One, the looks. It was, you know, I like the way that the vise looks, the functionality. I mean, the rotary function, the cradle. I mean, they all have that, but everything just fits well with me. It's not a bulky vise. If you look at some of the ones, there's just a ton of bulk up here. I like having room to where I can manipulate materials. I'm not catching anything. If you look at the Regals to where they have that heavy section right there, my hand always seemed to get in the way, or it always seemed to get in the way of my hand, and I wasn't able to control the materials as well as I thought that I should be able to. A lot of folks swear by the Regal. I'm not a fan of them personally. If you like them, if you tie on them, it's all in what you get used to. Like I said, the Peaks that are out there, there's a couple more vices. I haven't really tied on a ton of them, but there's a bunch of new ones coming out, and then there's a bunch of the older ones. I think it's an HHM. They've made quality vices for a long time. But that'll end my rant on vices. I think I covered everything that I wanted to. Yeah, I'm pretty sure. And if I miss something, I'll address it in one of the tie-in videos, one of the flies that I do later on. But thanks as always for watching. If you guys have any questions, give me or leave them with me. I was about to say give me a call. I'm not putting my phone number out here. Leave them with me. I'll get back to you, and we'll catch you on next week's fly.